Joshua! We are back, and this time with another anime conundrum.
Yes, sir. We have the most underrated anime of all time, in our opinion, today. We are hopping right in with number 5, Angel Beats.
Angel Beats is one of the very first animes that I have ever watched. It is one season, so it is very short. But when I tell you, it is one of the most emotionally heartbreaking series I have ever watched in my entire life. I mean, every single character has some just insanely horrible backstory.
Yeah, and it's really good because he had me watch it later. And I was like, as an OG anime watcher that started watching anime way before him, I felt like terrible that I'm like, this is so good, and I hadn't seen it yet. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Please go watch it. Like I said, as someone who hasn't been watching anime as long as he has, and I was able to show him something that had come out before my time.
Yeah.
Again, and that's one of the ones I was introduced to when I started. I knew it was good. It's honestly, if you're one of those people that likes to get really emotionally invested and be about these sad, sappy shows, this one is 100% for you. Angel Beats is honestly one of my favorite non-violent animes, period.
Yeah. And without giving too much away of the plot, because like we said, it's short. It's kids in the afterlife who basically don't want to be reincarnated, and all the shenanigans that go into, being a ghost that don't want to be reincarnated. It's a good slice of, I guess, death anime because they're not alive. It's fantastic.
It is fantastic. Definitely go give it a watch if you haven't seen it. It's good for pretty much everybody. But that leads us right into number 4, and I'll let you take over because I know it's by one of your favorite people of all time, the guy who made Death Note.
Yeah, man, and this is another one. I'm sick as hell. I didn't know it existed, and this man showed it to me. By the creators of Death Note, we have Platinum End. And oh my god, this man, when he said it was made by the dude that made Death Note, I was like, enough said. Like, I've seen Death Note. I saw Death Note way before he saw Death Note. So he knew, like, coming in that all I gotta say is Death Note, and I'm on. So, episode 1, main character tries to jump off a roof and is caught by an angel and is just, like, entered into a decision-making process. We thought it was going to be the normal isekai ignorance where everyone's going to be fighting, but no, it ended up being like Death Note level mindfuckery, and
it became very layered.
It was so layered.
And it's, again, for being a short anime, I was very surprised with how many layers there was to this.
You do have to pay attention. It's a lot of information. Like we said, it's made from the people who made Death Note.
So you do have to be paying attention. There's a lot of information.
But the thing that makes this anime particularly so good for me, the last one is a different type of anime. The action scenes was great, but this one has by far the most definitive anime ending of all time.
Oh my god! The ending of this series
or buts about it. What happened. You're gonna question whether you saw what you saw for a second, but then you're gonna rewind it 30 seconds and be like, oh yeah, that really happened.
No, the ending of this series is a definitive ending, and no questions asked. And it, honestly, in my opinion, it made total sense, and it was honestly one of the most interesting endings to an anime that I've ever seen.
In my entire life, because who and why and what, and go watch it, because we're supposed to be having a conversation about why the ending was so good, not why you haven't seen it. And before we get into number 3, if you like the video, remember to make sure to like the dang video. Please subscribe, comment, and it gets all the algorithms up. I want to be popping and famous. I'm trying to be at a K follower by the end of the next year. Be 1K deep. And if this video gets 1,000 likes, we gonna do underrated anime part 2. On to part 3.
Number 3, we got Tokyo Revengers. Now listen, Tokyo Revengers is a new gen anime, and granted, it didn't make our best new gen anime list, but that doesn't mean it's not an amazing anime.
This anime is the isekai god, because literally, you're walking across the train station, and all you see is from the main character's perspective. You're getting pushed into a train. Next thing you know, you're like 12 years in the past, and then all this ignorance time.
And now you're
Doctor
3
Who
seasons
level
in,
shit
and we
is
still
happening.
don't know who pushed him in front.
Yeah,
of the
we
train.
still don't know who pushed this man in front of the train, but I am so hyped for it. It is gang violence personified, and the best part about this anime, except possibly Mikey, I still don't doubt that this man has superpowers. But aside from possibly Mikey kicking the absolutely Anderson Silva level crap out of people, no one has superpowers in this show. And they're just beating the crap out of each other, and it's great.
I like it again, as you said, they're beating the crap out of each other. You don't see them use guns like that either.
No.
Even though they're gangs, it's more, I'm gonna beat your ass. Even if I use a weapon, it's gonna be like a pipe or a wrench. I'm gonna beat your ass. Like,
yeah, and they find a way to make it like still good camaraderie, where it's not just like Baki, where it's fight porn. I know Baki is up there for a lot of people, but for us, I think that's just.
I need more than fights.
I need more than fights. The
fights add a lot of the action, but
the actual stuff in a lot of other anime is snooze fest. But the stuff that happens in between the fights in the show,
I need to be attached to the
elevates
character.
the next fight every time, and I appreciate that. And it hasn't gone down. From the second shit gets elevated, it gets worse and worse and worse, and the fights get that much better because they're explaining more and more out of context or into context.
And not only that, we're seeing the character growth. I mean, Takamichi.
Everyone except Takamichi. Takamichi fucking up.
He still has some of the best character growth in anime. I mean, this man, even though he doesn't want to do this shit, he pushes
he
fucking.
Took on the role.
He took on the role that he never wanted. He's like, it's crazy because you could compare him to Tundra on so many levels, but Tundra is like not living like. It's hard to explain. Tundra is like physically starting to meet the requirements,
there, but he's not all the way there.
Yeah, emotionally he's not. He can't dedicate himself to it. We saw that at the end of season 3. He can't emotionally dedicate himself to this cause the way he wants to. Whereas Takamichi, like, you see him growing. Like, he even got to the point where he had to share this with somebody. Like, he can't keep this to himself anymore. He had to go to his vice captain and just fucking tell him everything. Like,
that's real. Like, you have big secrets that you can't keep. You gotta have somebody, even in the gang world, that you can trust to keep them. So that is Takamichi.
So many layers to this
Tokyo
anime
Revengers in a nutshell, and I think that is very interesting and very good and worth the watch. We aren't making this list to tell you that these are the greatest anime of all time. We're just saying that
they do not get enough love.
They don't get enough love, and maybe it's not on your watch list, and you don't have to watch these today or right now tonight.
But please watch them soon.
Just check them out.
And be honest. Don't let bias eat. Listen, all animes have the power of friendship. All animes have plot armor. All animes have these tropes that you're gonna have to deal with.
So if you like anime, you gotta.
You're just gonna have to get over those humps. Some things you're just gonna have to deal with for a little bit longer, and that's gonna lead you right into number 2.
That's it. Yeah, it goes right into To Your Eternity, and this one is only just now becoming tropical because the first season was absolute fire. It was a very different concept. When I tell you most anime is just there is a person who has a problem that needs to be solved. This is not it. When I tell you this is the ultimate slice of life anime.
This is the anime about learning.
Yeah, learning. This is literally his everyday life. And the premise of this show was this godlike creature, whoever he was, we still all the way know who he is. And he put this sentient, like, orb, basically in the form of a pebble, onto the earth. In the desert tundra, frozen tundra, and a wolf fell on it. It died. He became the wolf. The wolf died, or...
But without trying to spoil too much,
Yeah.
though, long story short, through experience, he evolves. And it is very different from what you would normally expect from an anime of this kind. And it has its violent moments, it has its ups, and it has its downs, but when I tell you this,
really heartfelt.
As again one of the newer animes out there, I will say this is one of those ones that caught my eye almost immediately. When a show can make you emotionally invested by the end of the first 2 episodes, then
they have hit the mark.
And they know you have hit the mark. And again, this is a new show, pretty short, but it is 100% worth the watch.
100%. So, great show. Like I said, great cast, memorable characters. Unlike some other shows we have mentioned in other videos, they don't oversaturate the cast. If you are attached to someone, don't be, because just don't. We love you, and on to number 1.
Which fits with the tropes that I was talking about so very well. This is why it gets as much hate as it does, but I don't understand it.
Fairy Tail.
Fairy Tail, by far, in my opinion, is the most underrated anime of pretty much all
time ever. Because what?
People really hate on it because of the power of friendship. Is the power of friendship not in every single fucking anime that you've ever seen in your entire life?
Did Naruto not get Sasuke back because he, as a really good friend, whooped his ass?
Did Hiei not turn to be Yusuke's friend by the end of the series?
Did Vegeta not start off trying to murder Goku and everyone? Did Piccolo, Gohan's literal actual uncle who is a better father than Goku, not start off trying to kill Goku? Shit happens. Niggas make friends. Sometimes friends are made through punching other people in the face. Sometimes friendship carries harder than it does in other anime. That is not a good reason to discredit Fairy Tail. And Natsu is that guy.
When I tell you, Natsu is one of the greatest main characters in all of anime.
Ever.
Fairy Tail does an amazing job with their side cast, fleshing out their characters. Not oversaturating, but at the same time making all the people they do introduce relevant in some way, shape, or form.
Even in the most random of ways. Never noticed. But it's so nuanced. And
I just want to say this and get this out of the way. There's not enough Urza appreciation out there.
Or Mira Jade.
The females in Fairy Tail do not get enough appreciation. Their characters are more fleshed out than many other females in other shows.
They're stronger than a lot of females, and they're not. Oh my God, princess!
Urza is practically a main character, and she is one of the strongest members in the entire series.
And 9 times out of 10, when she gets beat up, it's another overpowered girl, Minerva.
When I tell you,
a powerful badass villain.
In every single arc, Urza fights the strongest possible opponent of the enemy guild. With the exception of Natsu. Natsu, of course, being the main character, so he gets the important fights. But for the most part, Urza fights the person with the craziest hacks, the craziest powers, the most OP shit. It's always Urza that they rely on, and she always comes through.
Yep, and if Natsu ever needs someone to team up with, he's teaming up with Urza.
That's what I'm telling you. When Natsu needs someone to go to, you know who he goes to? Urza.
Every
time. The fact that you have female characters, and then you have the people, of course, your mystery man like Gildarts, who comes in and just steals the show every time he's on screen.
Gildarts is a monster.
He's like the Shanks of the series, and it's amazing.
Pretty much.
And then you have villains like Agnologia that just make the series that much more intimidating. Like, you do not want to get caught on Agnologia. Never. When I tell you, I do not understand the Fairy Tail hate. This show is so fucking
was
good.
One of the best, most well-written villain arcs I've ever seen ever. Bro, when they found out that all that ignorance was happening in the games, and then the
Loxus and Gazio redemption arcs in their own right are so fucking amazing. I mean, two separate characters in the same series getting whole ass redemption arcs from basically straight villainous intent to being borderline heroes. One of them basically literally starting a family.
And they were actually done very well, unlike some other shows. And they just didn't drop the ball at too many points at all.
Like, at the beginning, it's more goofy, it's more power of friendship. But there's a lot of setup that you don't realize is going on. Mm-hmm. Once you get later on and you start adding up the pieces, like, oh shit. Like, I know one of the first arcs is when Loxus turns on, the guild or whatever. And there's a point where Natsu and Gazio aren't able to leave the castle because it said something about ages.
80 years old.
But
I'm not over 80 years old.
Yeah, he's like, well, we're not over 80. Why can't we leave? Well, see, and that's in episode like 30 or 40. That doesn't get explained until in the hundreds. So I mean, there's a lot of foreshadowing that you don't realize is foreshadowing. There's a lot of displayed as goofy moments.
I think it's goofy, but it's so serious. They were not kidding at all.
Yeah,
and it just made for a fantastic show.
This is one of those shows where kind of like One Piece, where if you stick out through the beginning, you will be rewarded by the end.
Well, I think it's better than One Piece. I don't think the beginning was bad.
I mean, I'm not saying the beginning was bad. I'm saying that like for those people who are dealing with the tropiness and the goofiness at the beginning, because I know even me, the first couple episodes, I was like, man, this is it seems kind of child-centered towards the beginning.
That's fair.
But
I was much younger when I watched it too. So.
But as you get further on, you do see a lot of the more seriousness and the foreshadowing starting to take place. A lot of more seriousness can happen. But again, it's kind of if you can get through that first little chunk and just kind of power through it, the ball will really get rolling. You'll start to see yourself getting invested in these characters. I mean, again, Natsu is one of my favorite MCs of all time.
Yeah, Fairy Tail logo on my chest was one of my first tattoos.
I plan on getting a Fairy Tail logo as a
that,
tattoo on mine.
For life when they sent fucking Loxus off. Even after this man tried to hit fairy law on these people, they sent him off with a warm welcome. Makarov is the most loving character in all of anime. So many other old men would have quit their job, disbanded the guild.
When I tell you, this is up there with Naruto and Angel Beats for one of those shows that can just pull on your fucking heartstrings. Like, there are times in this show where I've almost wanted to straight up just bawl. And I remember me and him were watching an episode of the final season together. I'm about to tear up. I look over, there are already tears rolling down his fucking face.
Bro,
I'm like, fuck me.
Like
this shit really can hit you in the field. Some of these other shows, it takes it hard. So, Fairy Tail is honestly one of the most emotional animes I've ever watched.
So, if you have not seen it, I'm going to come to your house and we are going to watch it together. This is not an option. All the other ones on this list
are optional. This one is not.
This one is very
when
much
I tell you,
optional.
Fairy Tail is still in my top 10 list, and it will always be.
Forever, bro. Top 5.
And especially next year, the 1,000-Year Quest is starting its animation up. So we are eating as Fairy Tail fans. So please watch this show. And
get caught up while you can, because we making all the videos next year. We about to eat. Nom nom.
Fairy Tail, take it off 2024. Mark my words.
Hell yeah! You guys have a good one, and we will see y'all in the next
comments.
Thank you.